Hello and welcome to ADHD True Colors. In today's video, we will expose the number one project killer in ADHD NT relationships: lack of motivation.
Or losing motivation.
Exactly. When was the last time you and your ADHD or neurotypical partner were really super motivated and excited about a brand new project? You're both full of energy and full of ideas and inspiration and everything's going well, and all of a sudden, poof, gone inspiration, gone energy, gone motivation. And this just doesn't happen one time. Oh no, it happens so many times over the years, and it is gnawing away at your trust and your confidence, leaving you disappointed, sad and resentful.
And helpless.
Yes.
Please help me. And this just happened to us one more time in the past week. One day we were filming 4-hour funny shorts at the riverside, having a great time, and the morning after, Michaela crashes and starts messing up everything, having a massive panic attack. And I'm gonna share you the painful truth. We were this close, maybe a little bit less, this close to giving up ADHD True Colors and deleting the channel forever.
But guess what? We didn't. And the fact that you are watching us doing this video is the proof that we didn't give up. So without any further ado, let's jump in. Here are 6 reasons that will destroy your motivation and strategies to avoid these pitfalls. Reason number 1 for the ADHDer.
For me, when something feels unjustified, or when I'm asking myself, why do I have to do this? It doesn't make any sense. And I can't see the purpose of what I'm doing actually. Then I can lose my motivation in an instant. Just like motivation gone. But I'm not smiling at that moment.
It sounds nicer than it is. It sounds more fun. It is not fun. So what do you do now when you are in this situation, when you feel things are not justified and you're doing things that you really shouldn't be doing? How do you change your perspective on this?
I think one of the things I can do is to reframe or to change my perspective. And by reading the book of Tom Hartman, I can't remember the title, but Tom Hartman is already good for my ADHD brain, where he presents this model of the hunter-gatherer, the way you can be and fully appreciated as being a hunter-gatherer. That helps me a lot, so I can accept that in modern society, life doesn't make any sense at all. There are so many rules, so many things to do that actually everybody says you have to take initiative, you have to start a business, you have to do this, you have to do that. And then when you start, the first thing you have to do is fill out papers, which is the opposite of starting a business in my head. So just changing all this and saying like, no, I'm going for this because I'm a hunter and I want this. This is my prey and I'm going after this prey. And I really want it. And suddenly all the dopamine comes back and the motivation too. If I'm in a situation that I have to fill out too many papers or something happens that is too much, then I just say like, yeah, but what is the goal? The goal is not filling out this paper. The goal is to get to my goal. And I'm just going to do quickly fill out this paper, then ask Michaela to check it. And if it's okay, it's gone. And then I can do the next step. And reason number 2.
Feeling not supported when the ADHD partner is doing his own stuff and not paying full attention.
I think especially in the hyperfocus.
Yeah. Feeling alone and not enough supported when the ADHD partner is working in hyperfocus mode. What can you do about this? First of all, make daily checkpoints. What am I doing? What are you doing? Choose the topics and the strategies together, so at any given moment in the execution of your project, you will know where you are and you will feel more secure having these anchor points.
Yes, because when I'm in a hyperfocus, it's not that you do not exist anymore. I'm just concentrated and that's it. But you're still in my heart. You're not in my head at that moment, but you're in my heart.
Yeah, being diagnosed and knowing and learning about what ADHD is makes this a lot easier. And another thing that is important is this idea that when your ADHD partner is not giving you full attention, he doesn't care about you. That's a false belief, because he does. And you should grow self-confidence, self-awareness, and believe in your own ability to do things right. And believe me, your ADHD partner appreciates and cares for you. You've got this. Here comes motivation killer number 3. Boredom.
And this wasn't on purpose, in a way. The solution? I don't know.
I can help you, I think.
Okay.
Okay. Actually, people with ADHD are not naturally born bored. They become bored because the system in which we live just doesn't offer them enough interesting and fascinating opportunities. Now, how are we going to solve that?
Yeah. It's like learning. We're both learning Spanish now. In a way, she is studying Spanish. It's completely different than I am studying Spanish. I have to create like post-its and stuff like that because I can't translate all the time. If I go from one language to the other, then I'm in one language and I can't go to the other. At least that's my brain. So I have post-its on everything. I see the object and I say like, oh, that's what it is in Spanish. And this kind of creativity didn't exist when I was at school or in university. So for me, it was very, very hard to get out of this boredom on repeating things. And also have a very bad auditive memory. So if people say things to me, then I start wandering off. And so indeed, boredom is really a motivation killer.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing that you can do, which is actually quite interesting, is to realize that fear is fueling boredom and monotony. As you guys already know, if you've watched other videos, I'm struggling with CPTSD, have been for years, but making good progress. I realize now, when I'm debunking all my false belief about things that are happening, are supposed to be happening to me, but are not really, is that over the years, whenever Rick came up with a brilliant idea, that always to see it as risky and dangerous, and believing that it was my job to narrow it down and make it like risk-free equals terribly boring. And I realize now that this has actually impacted my life in a dramatic way, in the sense that it makes my life more boring. I'm now super excited to stop criticizing and putting down his ideas and actually looking forward to exploring a different kind of life.
So actually what we changed is that if I have an idea and I want to create something or to change something, then normally she goes into this panicking mode. But instead of going in this panicking mode, we sit around the table and we say like, okay, if we want to go from here to there, what are the dangers? Because you're fearful. Mm-hmm. So you have already fear for the angst. So why? What is this angst? Where is it coming from? What can cause whatever disaster? And then we start like focusing on what she thinks can be a problem or something that she's fearful of. Most of the time it looks like, oh yeah, it's just a very minor thing. Very often it doesn't exist.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we'll come to this in the next reason actually. Here's one important advice. Find out your shared directions and motivations in life. Choose. Do you want more of the same, or do you want things to be radically different? And are you ready to change your old patterns?
And number 4 is the one that almost caused the crash we mentioned in the beginning, the sandcastle syndrome of PTSD.
What is the sandcastle syndrome?
I don't know.
You do. It is a behavior pattern where people build up something with lots of effort and motivation to then destroy and tear it down afterwards. It's about sabotaging your own success out of fear that somebody else will come and take it away from you. For me, this fear is rooted in early childhood experiences. Long story, made short, my mother was narcissistic, and whenever one of her children did something that was worthwhile doing, well, she would come up and take it away for her own glory or destroy it because she was jealous that somebody else got it. We all learned that you are not worth the good things. That is the root cause for the sandcastle problem. Now, I think that a lot of people might suffer from this maybe not in ways that are as severe as this one, but I think many people tend to not be so self-assured and comfortable with being successful, and will therefore maybe not always be as supportive as they could be when in a very interesting project. Now, here's 2 questions for you to reflect on. Do you always accept success, or do you sometimes feel fear of success? And do you sometimes find yourself sabotaging the things that you love? For me, it took many years to realize and acknowledge that I was actually doing this kind of behavior, because it doesn't make any sense to a logical brain that you would destroy something that is most dear to you. It was actually Rorik who helped me find the courage to acknowledge and accept what I was actually doing. And the reason why he could do this was because Rorik was implementing new ADHD strategies very successfully. He was able to help me have the courage and acknowledge and accept my sabotaging behavior.
Before I was diagnosed, I didn't know anything about RSD. The reason why I could see what was happening in a rather calm way is because I have this diagnosis now. For example, RSD would normally ignite a lot of emotions about rejection, and now she's sabotaging me. And of course she was sabotaging the project, but I didn't feel anymore like she was sabotaging me, which was a very, very big difference. I saw like, if we can't go on like the way we are doing what we are doing, because it will jeopardize the project, not will undermine my personality or something like that. So I could keep on breathing and I could keep calm, and I saw her going down, 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 down. So I have to share my observation without being judgmental. And I could do that because I was not in an emotional defensive mode. I could say like, I'm sorry dear, but something is going wrong. And this time something in your heart or your brain is going wrong. And it's not my ADHD brain that is acting a strange way. So what happened is that Michaela could accept what I was sharing with her, because the way I framed my observation was much more supportive than it was in the past.
There is a 3-step solution to this problem. First of all, you have to make sure that you are not abusing the ADHD's high sensitivity to blame him and have an excuse to not touch your own painful traumas and disrupting behaviors. Step 2, check for hidden trauma. This is not something you do overnight. It's not a quick fix. You might have to dig deep, maybe find help, but you have to figure out what happened long ago that makes you do these things today. Step 3, accept that it's there and commit to explaining to the unconscious part of your brain that these horrible things happened a long time ago and they have nothing at all to do with what is going on in your life today. The people that hurt you then, the people that took away your happiness, they're no longer there. You're an adult and responsible for your own life and your own happiness and your human right to success and thriving. Number 5, the low dopamine. That's for the ADHDer. Sorry, dear, your turn.
Actually, it's a balance between two things. It's like, on one hand, you have sometimes these low levels of dopamine, and on the other hand, there are so many ideas. Ideas can overwhelm the NT person. Like, we can't do this all at the same time. That's right, because you can't do this all at the same time. And then something boring has to be done, and the dopamine goes down, or the other way around. For me, it's more the other way around. It doesn't go down. It just, there is no dopamine. So we say like, yeah, before we can do something interesting, we have to do this and this and that. And I said, oh shit, looking around to something that can stimulate me to start on this. And for you, that's a fearful moment. And for me, it's just a boring moment, like waiting for Godot. And my Godot is dopamine, so.
The solution.
Yeah, luckily for us, it was actually quite simple. The moment I knew I had ADHD, I love rituals. So I started like designing rituals, even for boring tasks. And simple ritual, for example, is before I go to bed, I make a to-do list for the day, for tomorrow. And then everybody says, yeah, but everybody makes it to do this. It's very normal. Yeah, but it's different to do it. And what is different is like I only take 1, 2, 3 things that I want to accomplish. And these 2, 3 things are really a priority. I have to do this, otherwise I'm gonna get into trouble. Then I have the beast mode. That's in a different color. And then sometimes I add 2, 3 or 4 things extra. The advantage of having these 2 levels of commitment is that this one has to be done. It's important. And the other 2, I still have a few days before they become part of the other list. Even in a low dopamine day, I can finish these 3 things and then I stop and I said, okay, I've done it. And now I'm going to celebrate because I did what I promised myself to do or promised my wife to do. And these 2, 3 beast mode things will be for tomorrow or the day after. And as long these extra things don't come on the list actually before I have to do them because they're too late, then it doesn't matter. Then I still can be happy and celebrate. And that really boosts my motivation in accomplishing every day these 2, 3 things I have to do.
There is one thing we have to debunk. You often hear people say, when you don't want to lose motivation, you have to take one project at a time and chop it into small pieces. Honestly, this has proven not to work. The only thing you get when you have just one project running is just small chunks of boredom. That's all you get. So no, that is not the solution. The solution is to have as much project as you can handle, but structure them. This means have a clear objective for each goal and a common objective for all the goals together, and write it down where you can see it.
Yeah, I want to add, we have much more projects in our life than we had before, but there's also a lot more planning involved now. In the past, planning was a very difficult thing for me because of my time blindness, because of not knowing that creating this confusion, what is when going to happen, and she's reacting fearful and I'm interpreting that it means like she's rejecting me, and then we come back to the RSD. Not having this and just seeing and being able to observe when something I say starts triggering fear.
It's very liberating because this new way of dealing with communication and shared information about where our nervous systems and brain wiring is at in any given moment allows us both to reflect. And for me personally, dealing with CPTSD, this gives me the time and the space to just sit with it. And I can really feel my body, feel my nervous system, let happen what happens, and notice very mindfully and conscious, like, okay, he said something that scares me, I think, but then it comes and then it goes, and then I realize on a very deep level that nothing happened. All my fears are actually unfounded. They're all built on false, obsolete belief systems, and that is very liberating. Now, once again, this does not happen overnight. It's not a quick fix, but it works. That I can assure you.
So does it still happen moments when I have low dopamine and I can't start anything? Of course, it happens almost every day. But because I have structured my life more as a hunter-gatherer, not something I have to do this from that moment to that moment. No, I have to do this so I can get here or get that or whatever that is. Then now it helps a lot to do this, and I have a lot more structure. To be honest, this video wouldn't exist without having these structures in place.
That is absolutely true. So, last but not least, cause number 6 for losing motivation.
For me, it's again this mental model from Thomas Hartmann. If I'm a hunter-gatherer and I want to go somewhere, I have to prepare something to do this. I can use the example of a war. If you see like the enemy is coming closer and preparing an attack, that's the moment when you have to escape. That's the moment when there's a very small opening, a door to another world or something.
I think you could call this a true, tangible threat.
Yeah.
Okay.
And because I'm always now in this model of this hunter-gatherer, it's hard to find a good place to hunt in this society. And this society is everywhere. So I have to accept that a lot of people think that I'm strange or weird or whatever. And every time when I see like an opening to do something positive, I do this. Because when the artillery from the enemy is in position and they start bombing you, then you're gonna get something on your head you don't like. And to avoid this is like always look for opportunities and go for these opportunities. So it's important to, if you set your goal, it has to do with this. For me, this image of the enemy is for me very important because I am traumatized of all the negative reactions people had on my ADHD brain, like opening solutions and stuff like that, and always moving towards something that is positive instead of being reactive and being angry and wanting to hurt the other one too. Kind of, if you push me, I push you back. And now that's gone. I have a lot more energy to focus on something positive and go that way. To explain this with an example, for me in 2017, I wasn't feeling very well and I did some discoveries on what I could do to change my health. Supporting my health has become very important for me. And when I see myself as ADHD hunter-gatherer in a world that is chemical, that is not natural, then actually there's no place for me in this artificial world. So focusing on what can I do to be happy, to be in touch with who I am. For example, taking walks, not eating grain-based and processed foods, because that's not what a hunter-gatherer eats. It really changed everything for me. So I can always say, like, when I have to make a decision, is this going to be good for my health, for my future self? Is this person in a year, 5 years, going to be happy that I made this decision now? And when the answer is yes, I do it. When the answer is no, I skip it. And then you have to accept that you actually have to dare to simplify your life, to become more healthy. And the only question you have to ask yourself is this healthy for me or is it not healthy for me? Answer is so simple. Yes or no.
Defining and committing to a common goal is key to stay motivated.
Is living our life as real as possible with good health, physical challenges, body and mind practices, real food and real people, and sharing all this with you folks here on this channel.
Okay, before we wrap this up, we want to hear from you. Do you struggle with staying motivated? Do you blow up the good things before they can grow?
And what keeps you going when you feel like quitting?
If this hits home for you, then give us a thumbs up or subscribe, or even better, leave your thoughts, questions in the comments below, and we'll be very happy to read them all and maybe talk about them in one of our next videos.
Stay healthy and motivated, and see you in the next one.
Bye for now!